This guy crashed out about, I guess this is like a clip that I did. I am apparently the dumbest person to him.
One of the things that's been driving me crazy more and more lately is when you have people who have large audiences who don't know what the fuck they're talking about, but they're just desperate to start giving their political takes and opinions.
Okay.
Because, look, you do a massive disservice. You have this giant audience of people who follow you, and if you're out there...
The disservice is disagreeing.
...spreading false notions of politics, that's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. The best example of this is fucking Joe Rogan, who doesn't know his ass from his elbow, but he's out there. He was at the inauguration. He gave Trump a softball interview. Gave J.D. Vance a softball interview. Fucking hot...
Didn't give you an interview. I can see why you're mad.
Stone massages every billionaire in the country on his show regularly. But then he'll go on his show and... So, who, me, bro? I'm just like a centrist. I'm like, I'm not right. I'm not left. I'm sort of above the fray and stuff. Like, it's whatever. He tries to do this enlightened centrist bit. Meanwhile, he's like...
I thought this was about me. Let's get to the part about me.
On the Trump train, quite literally. So... he's a great example of it. But another one is Asmongold. Asmongold, he's been getting more and more political. And I hear this. I just want to shove my nuts in a waffle iron when I hear this shit. Because, like, what are you saying? What are you saying? You know you don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
You know you don't know what you're talking about.
Great.
But he does it anyway. So here he is giving his theory.
Okay, so here, all right, here we go. This is me talking. All right, let's find out.
About how, the Democrats...
Yes.
They've been so radicalized that the Republicans are, the poor put upon Republicans, they're just like reacting to what the insane Democrats are doing. I'm not kidding. That's his actual argument. Let's watch.
This is I think it is a unique Democrat problem. Now, when a Republican does something bad, here's the big difference, right? It's not that Republicans don't do anything bad, but when a Republican does something bad, everybody generally says, oh, okay, that's really bad. But the problem is that Democrats look to try to, it's not that big of a deal. It doesn't matter that much. Who cares?
Oh, he mad.
Now do you understand why I said this made me want to shove my nuts in a waffle iron?
Great argument. You know what? I never saw it this way whenever I said it, but now that you say that you want to put your dick in a waffle iron, I completely agree with you. I actually was wrong. I was totally wrong.
Homie literally said,
yes,
when a Republican does something bad, other Republicans could be like, yeah, that's bad.
Yeah, generally. I think true. I think it's more true than for Democrats. I'm sure there's exceptions, but I think it's generally true. Yeah.
That might actually be the least true thing I've ever heard in my life. That is somehow the most false thing I've ever heard.
So the argument is no. Got it.
Entire life.
Okay.
Asmongold, bro.
Great argument.
Let me just tell. Let's just go with Elon Musk. What did Elon do when he was running Doge? You guys all know this. How many times have I given you the list?
All right.
He cut pediatric cancer research. Not a single Republican came out. Not a single fucking Republican came out and criticized him for cutting child cancer research.
Has it ever occurred to you that maybe the research was done in a way that was bad? Like, every time that people say something like this, the implication is that, oh, they're curing cancer or something like that. This is bullshit. Yeah. And also on top of that, just because you're doing research doesn't mean that it's a good allocation of government money. What if the research that you're doing is problematic? What if the research is not funded properly? What if you're getting too much money? There are all of these questions. It's like basically doing cancer research is not an immediate and infinite get out of jail free card from any degree of accountability and any amount of government oversight. What a crazy thing to say. But it's for cancer kids. Okay, great emotional argument. We love that. It's optics? Yeah, it's just optics. It's just the way that it sounds. Because the idea of, oh my God, he's cutting research for cancer kids. Oh no, that sounds bad.
By the way, there was one of those things was literally a cure that worked.
Oh, okay. So we had a cure. Let's get this straight. We had a cure for cancer. We almost had it, but Donald Trump and Elon Musk turned it off. Okay, sure.
I'm not kidding. It was a gene editing thing that they used to stop leukemia. They tried it on somebody.
Yes.
It worked. He cut the fucking funding.
Okay. So it worked on one person. Which again, I'm not even sure whether this is true. I don't have that. I don't have it in front of me. I don't remember this happening at all, by the way. But okay, so we have one person it happened on. Leukemia is cancer? Yeah, it's blood cancer.
National Weather Service, which literally led to deaths. It led to deaths. There was a late warning that went out because he cut the National Weather Service, and you have these kids at a Christian sleepaway camp who died. He cut...
Oh, fuck. Okay. I live in Texas. Meteorologists say the National Weather Service did its job in Texas. DOGE cut hundreds of jobs at the NWS, but experts who spoke to Wired says the agency accurately predicted the state's weekend flood risk. These are meteorologists. If you don't know, that's a weather wizard. Those are people that understand the weather. Okay. Well, would you look at that? Would you look at that? Sounds like some specific... And this is the thing, right? You give a specific example, and it falls apart.
Meals on Wheels.
Right.
He cut the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which is the anti-scam police. No...
Good. They weren't doing their job. They obviously had no fucking idea what they were doing. The scams have been through the fucking roof. So, yeah, wow. Well, let me get this straight. Okay, so there's a bureau of people that are supposed to stop scams, and you want to keep them on payroll? They sucked.
Republicans criticized any of these things. None of them. He fired 83,000 veterans. Nobody criticized it.
Oh, no. You can't fire veterans anymore. Didn't you know that? We're not allowed to fire veterans. Another emotional appeal.
He fired 250,000 government workers overall. Nobody fucking criticized.
Good. It should have been more.
Criticized it. When he cut USAID, cutting off malaria medication from going to people who need it. HIV medication.
Oh, no. That's right. It's America's responsibility to pay for people that have HIV and AIDS in Africa. That's right. Oh, yeah.
People have been dying in droves. They didn't.
Is he specifying in America or not? No, he's not. It's because it's not happening in America. He's right that USAID was funding the lives of a number of people outside of America. This is absolutely true. And that's why a lot of people voted to get rid of it. It's because you have people here that are dying from lack of medical care. You have people here that don't have housing. And so why is it that we are allocating money and resources to stopping HIV and AIDS in countries that are not our own, but we're not able to keep houses? You want to talk about veterans. Why are there any homeless veterans? Where is the priority list that a veteran ever gets outranked by a person in Africa? That's not the place that I'd want to live in. I'll tell you that. That's crazy to me.
Fucking criticize it.
Of course, because I agree with it. Yeah, I agree with it. Good call. W.
Your minds, and that's just Elon. I didn't even mention Trump.
Which, by the way, and also all of these examples here that he's given are policy decisions and not actual violence. I was discussing things like Charlie Kirk and Jay Jones in the clip, and so he's misinterpreted what I've said. And he's even making an argument that doesn't even make sense in the context of what I said. So not only did you get the argument wrong, but to the extent that you're making your other argument, that one's also wrong.
Trump has been bombing random dinghy fishing boats with innocent people in them.
How do you know that? You really think... What about the submarine? Was that a fishing submarine too? Do you really think that they're blowing up? Really think that they're fishing boats? This is an innocent fishing submarine. Don't you guys have those? With 4 motors on them. Yeah, and by the way, so let me get this straight. So the U.S. government can read a license plate with a satellite from outer space, but you think that a Twitter post that said that the people were innocent is more accurate than that? Sure.
And nobody on the right has been criticizing it at all.
Because they agree with it, because it's the right thing to do. It is. Absolutely. Blow up the boats. Without even a question. How could you be against that? I mean, these are people that are trying to bring drugs to our country that are going to kill our people. If I saw somebody running at my house with a bomb, I would want to shoot them before they got to my house. I wouldn't want to try to apprehend them, arrest them, and try to put them through a whole process. No, you just fucking shoot them. And he'd do the same thing.
They've all been lying and pretending these are narco-terrorists and Trump...
They're lying. Okay, where's the argument that they're...
killing the right people and stuff. This is insane. This is insane.
It's insane. Okay, well, that's a good argument for why they're not narco-terrorists. Yeah, no, I'm sure the fishing submarine... it was just a bunch of, like poor innocent Venezuelans who were just trying to get by, and they only had enough money to cobble together for one submarine. And you know what they say, right? You got to fish where the fish are. And so they had to go underwater to get the fish.
Even if they were...
Okay. So even if they were, right? Okay. So now we've already shifted. We've already shifted from... No, there's no way this is the case. But if it was the case, okay, here we go.
Trafficking narcotics,
yes.
The penalty is not instant death. Are you?
Yeah, it is. And if it's not, it should be. How about that?
Are you ridiculous? Oh my.
Yeah, why not? Really, why not? Who gonna stop us? Yeah, exactly. Fuck them.
My God, we're only 24 seconds into a 2-minute clip. I don't know if I can fucking get through this.
I'm only 3 minutes into his clip. I don't know if I can get through this either.
I don't know if I might like fucking have an aneurysm on air.
Uh-oh. Like, it's not that big of a deal. It doesn't matter that much. Who cares? And I think that has radicalized a lot of people. And yes. I'll view that, and we can contrast this now. Which, you remember whenever they had all those text message leaks, and it was all those young Republican people talking about how much they liked Hitler? And nobody really cared about that anymore. And the reason why, it's because left-wing people have established basically a standard, and now right-wing people are living up to it.
He flipped the truth exactly on its head.
Okay.
This is insane. It's been the exact opposite. My entire adult life, it's been the opposite. There was literally a slogan that the Democrats had about how much we're pussies. Michelle Obama came out and said, when they go low, we go high. That dominated a generation of Democratic thought.
Then why'd you guys burn down all the stuff in BLM? Why'd you burn down the Teslas? That doesn't sound like going high. Maybe getting high, but not going high. So because Michelle Obama said something, now everything that Democrats do is automatically good. Well, why didn't I think of that?
They go low, we go high.
Yeah.
And then what happened? The Republicans decided to shatter the filibuster record under Obama. Obama literally came out and said, I'm going to propose your ideas, Republicans. I'm going to do the things you say you love. I'm going to do a health care plan that came from the Heritage Foundation, a right-wing think tank, and Mitt Romney, the Republican, did it in Massachusetts as the governor. I'm going to do your plan. And Republicans had previously all supported this plan.
I think the Republicans treated Obama too harshly, too. Honestly, I generally agree with this. I think the Republicans, they stopped them from appointing Merrick Garland as Supreme Court Justice, which I think Obama did have the purview to do. And throughout his entire tenure as being president, that did happen. He's right about this. Yeah, absolutely.
Obama proposed it. We're against it. We're against it. How dare you?
I think the ACA was bullshit. And I think that the best way to tell that the ACA was bullshit is that all of these different insurance companies had their fucking stock go way up after it got passed. The Affordable Care Act, the Obamacare, was the main thing that Obamacare was caring for were the insurance companies and private healthcare companies. It was mandatory welfare for those companies. It was a joke. Now, the Republicans didn't want what I want, which is universal healthcare. They don't want that. However, what Obama did wasn't good either.
It's communist for us to do the healthcare plan that we came up with. This is who we're dealing with.
Okay.
They broke the filibuster record.
Sure.
They fucking instantly rejected their own ideas. Obama would do things like cut small business taxes, and they would attack him for it, even though, again, that's their ideas. You want to talk about radicalized. 100% is the exact opposite. Democrats and liberals and leftists have been
no, for sure. People were negative about Obama. Yeah, definitely. I think that was stupid. It was stupid then. It's still stupid.
Radicalized by Republicans being so fucking insane. Trump tried to coup the government. Trump lost an election to Joe Biden, and then he did fake elector slates, which was illegal, by the way, but he fucking got away with it.
Yes.
Then they had January 6th, the violence at January 6th. Even after the violence, Trump was still making phone calls saying, don't certify Joe Biden.
And this is the difference between, I think, a lot of liberals and people like me. Like leftists like this will bend over backwards to justify why it was actually a good thing that we spent an entire year burning down auto zones, looting 7-Elevens, and destroying every city during BLM. They'll bend over backwards justifying why it's actually a good thing that you're destroying Teslas, or why it's a good thing that you had people that were, like Jay Jones, who's having conversations, fantasizing about killing people he's running against politically, right? The difference between, I think that myself and people like him is that I can easily say January 6th was a bad thing. It was awful. Yeah, it was bad. The problem is that in a lot of cases, people like Kyle are unwilling to cede any ground or to look at anything objectively. They see everything through the lens of what their side wants, and they're not looking at it in any sort of an objective or realistic way. Obviously, January 6th was bad. Now, I think that it was very clearly misrepresented. And if you don't think so, then, maybe the BBC should hire you as a lawyer, because they admitted that it was misrepresented and apologized for it. So very clearly it was misrepresented. But even in its best representation, it was still bad. But you don't need to come up with excuses for it. This is the problem. And that's the whole point that I'm making. That was the entire point of my clip, is that whenever Republicans, like what I was saying, do something bad, like January 6th, people like me, at least, call it out and say, hey, that was pretty bad. You shouldn't do that. I didn't see that happen with Tesla bombings. I don't see that happen with Jay Jones. How about that? Very interesting.
He was asking politicians not to certify Joe Biden.
Yes.
That's insane. That is insane. And so they do the extreme shit. They do the crazy shit.
To be fair, this was after 4 years of them trying to delegitimize Trump's presidency by him being connected to Russia. This happened even before he became president, that they were trying to delegitimize him. So I don't think that 2020, the election there, I don't think that was the culmination of election denial. I think that it started with Donald Trump. Now, I'd say 2012, when was the last election? I guess 2000 was a little bit uncertain because of the hanging Chad thing with Gore and Bush. But overall, before that, I feel like most elections, people pretty much accepted them. But I would say that even with denying the election, remember the hashtag not my president, where people were saying that, oh, he's just, got elected because of Russia. So really, while I do say that January 6th was a bad thing, I don't think that, again, Republicans did not invent election denial. I think that Democrats at that point had spent 4 years doing it with Donald Trump to begin with. And it turned out that all that, by the way, was bullshit. He will not divide us. Yep, there it is.
But somehow, we're the problem?
Really weird how he's celebrating ACA while also celebrating the assassination of a CEO who benefited the most from things like ACA. I don't know if he celebrated the Luigi stuff. I have no idea.
We're the ones who never fucking criticize our own? Are you kidding me? How quickly do Democrats throw each other under the bus?
Not quickly enough with Jay Jones, for example, and that one just happened. Yeah, you can go back and find an example of something stupid that happened during Obama, but I can go back a week ago and find something stupid that you guys did. That's the problem.
Remember Al Franken? Al Franken was a senator. There was a picture that he took where he was fake grabbing somebody's titty while they were sleeping. That picture came out. He used to be a comedian, by the way. He didn't actually touch the woman, but it was fake grabbing the titty and laughing at it and joking about it. He had to fucking resign because other Democrats threw him immediately under the bus. Are you out of your minds? I keep saying minds. Are you out of your mind? I mean, this is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. Nothing could be further from the truth. It was Donald Trump who came along, and he sort of defined this idea of be a bull in a china shop. Never fucking apologize. Always plow through.
He did apologize for the grab her by the pussy thing. He did apologize for that. But I don't think he meant it. But he did apologize.
And then eventually people just move on and you're good. So he started that. We're just getting to the time now where Democrats are finally catching up.
I don't really think that's entirely true. I feel like Hillary Clinton said a number of bad things about Trump voters as well. Like, it's pretty common.
Up to that, right? That's just starting to happen now. And thank fucking God it is. Because here's the deal. We can only have civility and decorum if both sides agree to civility and decorum. It's that simple. As soon as the Republicans go, fuck you, then we have to say fuck you back. It's like with the gerrymandering fight. By the way, Asman, who's the one that gerrymandered first? It was Texas and the Republicans that said, we're just going to gerrymander and steal a bunch of
talking about the recent one.
Democratic seats and turn them Republican.
Well, I mean, wait a minute. Stealing? Gerrymander is fundamentally fucking stealing, by the way. And both Democrats and Republicans do this. They've been doing this for fucking ever.
Greg Abbott did that because Trump told him to do that. And then
True, and he should have done it. And all the other Republican states should do it too.
That had to happen before fucking you had Newsom step up and say, all right, if you're going to do that, then we're going to counter gerrymander in California.
Which, by the way, this is a shadow argument that he's fighting against. I never criticized Gavin Newsom for doing that. I never said that. Of course I understand why he'd want to do that. Of course you're going to want to consolidate power for your side. Obviously. Yeah, I was never even against it. So I didn't even say that. That's not even it.
Newsom didn't start that. The Democrats didn't start that. Republicans started that. We responded in kind. Democrats.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, you guys want to do Proposition 50? That's fine. Yeah, okay. Sure. I think that's fair.
And liberals and leftists responded in kind.
Yeah.
So he has it exactly wrong. He has it exactly.
That's not even what I'm saying.
Exactly backwards. These motherfuckers are unhinged and out of control and radical. And because of that, we have been dragged into having to do the same to keep things even Stevens.
You're completely right. All of the Republican crash outs, all of the massive protests that Republicans are having, destroying, throwing bricks at people at ICE, trying to get in front of the cars, screaming at them, destroying property. Again, going back to the BLM riots, burning down Teslas, killing Charlie Kirk. I mean, there were 2 assassinations on Trump as well, or at least attempts. I mean, at what point do you really, how long can this go on for, guys? How long can we just keep making up bullshit? The ICE attacks. Yeah, exactly. What is going on with this?
Because if they're going to gerrymander, we say we're not going to do it on principle, then they just
Nobody said that. Nobody. This is the argument that I never made.
Everything, period, as far as the eye can see. In a very weird way, once the other side starts cheating, in order to make it more fair, you also have to start cheating. Once they start being insane, to keep it fair, you also have to be equally insane in the opposite direction.
Okay. But let's be honest, Kyle. You guys were going to be insane no matter what. It might be convenient that Republicans do some things that are insane, but you were going to be insane anyway, all right? Let's be real.
Like, it's the only way to do it. And again, he flips it and pretends like it's the Democrats who are totally unhinged, and that made the Republicans radicalized. Get the fuck out of here. Also,
I think if you want to talk about a policy decision that's like very unhinged that makes people radicalized, I think that a good example of that is the trans in sports. So especially also like trans kids using bathrooms. Now, you can make an argument that this isn't really a big issue, but if it's not a big issue, then why are you fighting it so much? So I think that that's a radicalization issue that does affect average people, that makes people think that Democrats are ideologues and disconnected from reality. So if you're trying to make an argument that, for example, biological men should compete with biological women in sports, especially in, high school sports or middle school sports, you're really kind of, this is, in my opinion, that argument is of the same validity of flat Earth.
This is a flat earth argument. So if a person gives an argument like that, it is so radical and so extreme and so devoid of any logic, rationality, biology, science, or even common sense that you have to assume that this person's mental facilities are compromised and you can't trust other things that they're going to say. That's the big difference. And so I think he's using examples of policy things, and the examples he used were bad. But I'll give him an example that actually does make sense, that does radicalize, I think, Republicans in a lot of cases. And I think that's a great example of it. And so, like, that's one of the things that I think people see that, and they're like, what the fuck? This is so crazy. This is so extreme. Nobody could actually believe this. And then they go all the way. That's it. I just don't see how wanting to remove people who are here illegally is the same as trying to hurt people who are just doing their job fulfilling that. Well, it's because, so you have to understand that Kyle would never want an illegal immigrant or somebody living in his house without his permission. I don't think he would want that. However, he has no problem letting people live in other areas that he's probably has nothing to do with. Like, I mean, Kyle's a relatively successful YouTube guy. He does well for himself. I'm sure he makes a lot of money. And he probably lives in an area where there is a minimal amount of friction that's been caused by illegal migration. And he also has a job that is in no, like, risk of being displaced by illegal migration either. So really, you have somebody who's totally disconnected from this issue that is telling other people that they should necessarily, they should deal with it, right? And so this is the person you're watching, by the way. Who is this? This land is by the Colorado border plain. It's pretty cool. I have no idea why it looks like this. It's called farming. What? Wow. Can you believe that? Oh, God. Yeah, this is the guy. Yep, there he is. Oh, geez. What a guy, huh? How about that? Delete your account. Yeah. So I hope he's farming now. Maybe he's learned.
Seem like, you know, like Republicans are put upon to have to condemn a Republican group chat where they were like loving Hitler. Like that should be easy. That should be a low fucking bar, bro.
Yeah, not as low as wanting to, you know, have the kids of people that you disagree with politically be killed. I think loving Hitler is bad. Absolutely, it's bad. But if you're not willing to condemn somebody who fantasizes about having the children of his political opponents killed, then how can you expect anybody else to capitulate to what you want? I mean, what are we doing here? It's a joke, yeah. And also, all of those people, here's what's funny about it, is that all of those people from that group were removed. They were removed from that, I think it was like a Young Republican Society or something like that. They were all removed. So for a joke, they got removed. For telling the truth in private, Jay Jones got elected to Attorney General. Well, I think that we have a problem here.
But to them, it's not.
You have all these conservatives that are saying... When did he defend Jay Jones? Well, that's the main person I'm talking about, right? And it was in the context of that. This crazy stuff, and yes, there's never a point of moral authority that, you know, any liberal can have when you're the one justifying, you know, shutting down a college, or you're the one justifying being violent to an officer. Or you're confused. I'm talking about the like whenever the pro-Palestine protesters came to like places like UCLA, and they were violent towards other people that were trying to just do their work. They blocked access to certain buildings. They destroyed property, and they didn't follow police orders. That was. I know he might be confused by that, but that's what I was discussing. The one justifying, you know, destroying property, somebody's car, or something like that. They all got blacklisted and fired from their jobs. Yes, but I understand that structurally, but that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what happened to them. What matters is how the public perceives it. And I think that this is continuing to become the case. I think that any conservative at this point should totally stop purity testing, because left-wing people don't purity test themselves. And if... He's so mad. Okay, all right, let's hear it. Okay, here we go.
Oh, my God.
Let's go.
The extent to which this guy has no fucking idea what he's talking about, it's like he
Okay, I get it. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm an idiot. I'm a big stupid. Okay, let's hear why.
got into politics 7 seconds ago.
Okay.
Like literally just 7 seconds ago, he was like, politics, what's that? I have opinions on it.
Great.
What
Let's
is
hear
this?
yours.
You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. That's the thing that gets me. Is
well, here's what I think is very interesting. Even using his own argumentation, doesn't that make him look kind of stupid? Is that even from somebody who's been involved in politics for 17 seconds, even they can tell that there's obviously a massive discrepancy here. There's obviously a huge double standard that's at play. And I think the whole country can see it. So maybe you're too involved. Maybe you're in too deep and you're not able to just see the reality of it. Sounds like your chatter's calling you wrong? Yeah. Well, maybe this is where they learned it from. He also commented on Jay Jones immediately dismissing it.
It was about mass shootings and it was about his opponent's kids. It was like the only way they'd understand the pain of that is if their kids got killed, right? Basically saying like, you're not...
That's not what he said.
Typical Republican, you're not going to support legislation to, change everybody's reality when it comes to gun violence unless and until it impacts you. So Republicans lied about that and pretended like he wants to murder the kid of his opponent. That's bullshit. Everybody knows that's bullshit. But that's what they ran with. And the texts were so bad that people thought, oh, this will be a layup for Republicans. Wrong. So the betting markets had the Republican favorite to win for so fucking long, and literally just last night as the results started rolling in, boom, it flipped. And then Jay Jones ended up winning. That really...
Well, I guess that sure proves me wrong. Wow. Yeah, that's totally not what I was talking about at all, right, guys? Yeah, we saw the text messages.
I know he knows. He doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about.
You allow other people to create the optic.
By the way, just total aside about how I don't know what I'm talking about at all. Literally no examples, no reason for saying this, just that I'm stupid and I don't know what I'm talking about. I guess either my chatters learned it from him or he learned it from my chatters. Doesn't even address what I said? No, he doesn't even address it.
For you, all you're doing is you're allowing your enemy to define how you lose. And basically, you can see how they had no problem voting for Jay Jones, right? This is a guy that like fantasized about killing, his political opponent's children.
He wasn't. If that's a fucking lie, you're lying. You're lying. He's.
All right. So, if you refer over here to the text messages. So these are the leaked text messages that Jay Jones had. If those guys die before me, I will go to their funerals and piss on their graves. Send them out awash in something. 3 people, 2 bullets. Gilbert, Hitler, and Pol Pot. Gilbert gets 2 bullets in the head. So not only is he talking, and this is also multiple, because they are those guys. This is plural, right? So he's talking about multiple people. And then I wasn't attacking you. I was trying to understand your logic. And I've told you this before. You were talking about how, so right here, you were talking about hoping that Jennifer Gilbert's children would die. No problem voting for Jay Jones, right? This is a guy that like fantasized about killing, his political opponent's children.
He wasn't. If that's a fucking lie, you're.
Do you know who disagrees with Kyle? Jay Jones. Jay Jones disagrees with you. He says, yes, I've told you this before. Guys, don't listen to Jay Jones about what Jay Jones said. No. Listen to me, and I'm going to tell you what he really meant to say. This is the text message. It's right here. Oh, wait. I'll go even farther here. And then so there isn't a point blank. I'm questioning, do I think that Todd and Jennifer are evil and that they're breeding little fascists? And this is Todd and Jennifer. Jennifer again. There it is again. Breeding little fascists. Yes. And this is him talking about you were hoping that their children would die. You tripled down. Yeah, exactly. Guys, but hey, don't believe any of this, okay? It's all a lie. Jay Jones actually was lying in his private text messages to somebody else that got leaked later on. And Kyle actually knows what he meant to say, though. Todd Gilbert was his opponent. Oh, I understand that. Yeah, don't listen to Jay Jones. He's taking his own words out of context. Like, he literally goes, like, here, one more time.
About killing, his political opponent's children.
He wasn't, if that's a fucking lie. You're lying. You're lying. He said shit like,
yes, I've told you this before. Only when people feel pain personally do they move on policy. As a response to, you were talking about hoping her children would die. You just look it up. Like, why would you even say this? This is the guy that's trying to make the argument from authority that he's the political person you should be listening to, and you couldn't even look up the text messages?
Three people are in an elevator. Hitler, Pol Pot, and my Republican opponent. And you only have 2 bullets. What do you do with the 2 bullets? And he says both go in his opponent. That's obviously a fucking joke. And
do you guys think that this is a person that was joking? I don't think that it was a joke. I don't think he was joking about this. Now, I think that this is the reality. I think that he probably wouldn't actually do that. He's just a weird, mad retard. However, I don't think that he was saying this as a punchline.
the core
Would it be a joke if Trump said the same thing? No, it would be a constitutional crisis again. Of course, if Trump said this, he would be farming it so hard. Everybody knows it.
Joke is, this is how fucking evil these Republicans are. That's the joke, right?
By the way, never even talked about the thing with the kids. Never even talked about it.
Fucking, he wants to kill. No, he fucking doesn't. And by the
They're
way,
breeding little fascists.
everybody knows that. The right knows that. Is it fucking edgy as fuck? Absolutely. Was it private and not meant to go public? Abso-fucking-lutely.
Yes.
But he doesn't actually want to kill his opponent. And by the way,
well, so were the Republican group chat. That went public too.
that's why he fucking won. And thank fucking God he did.
Okay. All right. Finally, now we're having a conversation. So it's not that he didn't say it. It's that he did say it and it was good. Okay, good. Now we're having a real conversation. All right. So it's not that, you agree with it. So now it's a good thing. Yes, it's not happening, but if it is happening, it's good that it happened. That was fast.
Because guess what? It's the exact opposite of what you're saying, Asmongold. Finally, Democrats have gotten it and woken up. This is the only way forward.
Finally, they've realized that the solution is to kill the children of their opponents. Okay, well, how about that? All right, well, crazy policy there.
For us. Because Trump made this politics the rule of the day. He made it like this. Let's remember. Here is what Trump and MAGA, here's what they've referred to Democrats as during the Trump era. The enemy within, scum, terror.
He's reading them out. Okay, so what I find to be funny about this is that, yes, Trump has used negative words about Democrats, but how many times was Trump called a Nazi? How many times was he called a racist? How many times was he called a Russian asset? How many times were his protesters, his supporters called that? Hillary Clinton called the people who supported Trump a basket of deplorables. Like, we can trade lists of bad names all day. The fact is that both of them have been doing that. And they called Trump a Nazi, calling him a fascist, everything like that. Calling him a Nazi during 2016, that's crazy. Crazy thing to say.
Terrorists, vermin, radical, lunatics.
I would say calling somebody vermin, radical, or a lunatic is not even remotely in the same category as calling somebody a Nazi. I don't even think they're remotely close.
Demonic. Evil.
Demonic. Yeah, it's not even remotely close. They don't call Trump evil? What are we talking about?
Fascist. Marxist.
Who called him a Nazi? Who called Trump a Nazi?
Communist.
I wonder.
Garbage. The enemy of the people. Treasonous. Animals. Degenerates. Jew haters. Lowlives. This is how they talk about us. And then
and what do people say about Trump supporters? It's worse.
Finally, when we go, okay,
yes.
bet these are the new rules. Fine, we'll play by those rules too. Now,
Whoa, no, this was happening ever since the very beginning. This has always been what's happened. And I think the reason why people like Kyle were upset is that the words that they have used for many, many years, things like Nazi, racist, etc., all these bullshit words, have effectively lost all of their meaning. Like, nobody really cares whenever they hear these words anymore because you've used them so much that there's been a diminishing return on it that people hear the word and they just immediately stop paying attention to you. And the reason why is because you've overused it. You've used it for everything. And so I think the problem, really, why Kyle's upset about it is that the optics game that Democrats, I think, and a lot of these liberal people had a monopoly over, especially in media, has now, I think, to some degree been evened. And you have, obviously, Republicans saying crazy shit about Democrats and Democrats that have repeatedly said crazy shit about Republicans. But for the early 2010s, and I think also for the 2020s as well, there has been a tremendous amount of optics that have been defined and controlled primarily by Democrats. And it's Democrats labeling somebody as something, and then that person having to defend themselves from that label. This has been the primary operating mechanism that they have used to control discourse for a very long time. And now that it's not working anymore, people like Kyle are crying. And now they're saying, okay, now it's time to take the gloves off. You never had them on. You never had them on to begin with. This is always what's happened.
how you whine and cry and bitch and moan? No, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Compare what Obama has called Republicans or what Biden has called Republicans to what Trump has called Democrats. It is fucking night and day.
Those are the only three people that are involved, by the way. That's it. Those are the only three people.
You get fucking, buttoned up, civility, decorum, professional presidents from Biden and Obama when it comes to their language vis-a-vis.
I don't know about being buckled up in civility with Biden. I think he was basically a walking corpse. But I would agree with him, like with Obama. I think Obama was great in terms of like how he carried himself and how he acted as a president. I think he was great. Yeah, I think he was way better than Trump and also way better than Biden in terms of like being an international representative of the country, for sure. Yeah, true.
The other side. But Trump, no, he's fucking throwing haymakers left and right. And like I said, finally, the Democratic reaction.
This is after they tried to put him in jail and, it gave him a mugshot, charged him 34 times for the same exact crime. 34 felonies. Come on, what are we doing here? It's pretty obvious that this has been weaponized from both directions.
That is, okay, yeah,
yes.
Fuck. Jay Jones, fine. We're totally fine with him. And now you
Exactly. And so now, finally, now we have the actual. By the way, does he putting this orange stuff on that Trump has? Look at his eyes and look at his forehead. What's going on here? How does this happen? I don't know. I just think it's odd, right? And anyway, so from an outsider's perspective, yeah. And so let me go back. So okay, so now you're in favor and you're okay with Jay Jones. Okay, that's fine. And now we have an actual conversation because before he was saying, oh, well, this isn't happening. It's not going to happen, etc. But no, actually it is happening. You know it's happening and you're okay with it. So that's fine.
Want to cry and now you want to bitch and now you want to moan. Well, maybe you should have fucking thought about that when Trump was calling us the enemy within and fucking terrorists. Maybe if you...
Because before that, nobody ever said anything bad about Trump or anything bad about his supporters ever. You see, he started it. Sure.
Policed your own side a little more, we wouldn't have gotten to the point where Jay Jones would be the standard bearer.
If you're going to vote for that person.
That's right. And also, and I think this is another thing that's very revealing. And it's also revealing in the way that I think Democrats justify violence and rationalize it, is that they use things like calling somebody an idiot or calling somebody a lunatic or whatever, or an enemy, and then they compare that with somebody else fantasizing about literally killing someone. And I think this is more of the words or violence. I think, what would you really call it? Like grift? The manipulation, basically, that word, like your words are violence and my violence is freedom of speech. That's basically it. There's no comparison. Yeah, it's not even remotely close.
And you're not going
to.
So
he's justifying wanting to kill children? I don't know why you would do that. I don't know why. Well, he said it wasn't even what happened, even though Jay Jones said that's literally what he said. You just see the fucking text message. It's right there. Also, if you act like a terrorist, maybe you are a terrorist. Yeah, and exactly. And also, by the way, I'm gonna be honest. If you are the kind of person that's going out and you are burning down Teslas, you are destroying property, you are vandalizing things, you're victimizing people, you're blocking roads, and you're destroying things, you are the enemy within. You absolutely are. This is something that is objective. It's not about a Democrat or a Republican. You are the enemy within. You are a lunatic. You are crazy, and you need to be put in jail. And that's why we have laws against these things. But withdraw their nominations from them. Well, then I don't want to hear from you about how bad it is that somebody said something bad in a group chat.
Yeah. It just absolutely fucking incredible. It's amazing how he can flip the reality on its head.
Well, you've got to at least get the reality right, huh?
So smoothly, you know, and not even fucking think twice about it. Not even think twice about it. Meanwhile, who's the biggest commentator on the right these days? Nick Fuentes. Here's some stuff Nick Fuentes has said. Quote, Hitler was really fucking cool. I admire Hitler. I don't care that much about the genocide in Gaza. I'm ambivalent. He postures like he's pro-Palestine. That's what he's actually said about it. He said, women shouldn't have the right to vote. Boys and girls should get married.
And how many crazy leftist people are out there? Oh, but Hassan said this thing. What the fuck does that have to do with me? But Nick said this thing. Okay. All right.
His teens. Quote, be against women's rights. Be against them getting educated. He said ban birth controls, ban contraceptives, don't allow women in the workplace, ban them from voting, pornography should be banned.
I don't know why I don't know why I said all this. I don't remember saying any of this myself at all.
He called for Catholic Taliban rule. He said, quote, we want to go back to the Middle Ages. This is your side. And this is the future of your fucking side. He said,
okay. I mean, like, what? I mean, what does this have to do with me?
Quote, democracy is wrong. Quote, I fucking hate the poor. I love the rich. And you're going to come after us. Yeah. You're going to come after us. The left, who's fucking the core of what we believe is, hey, everybody should be treated equally and fairly.
Okay. Except for people that you're running against.
The core of what we believe is we should have universal health care and free college.
Then why were you okay with the ACA that was just basically a fucking welfare for these companies?
And a living wage, and we should end the wars, and we should let people join unions. We should have paid time off by law, paid vacation time, paid maternity leave.
This is, I think, the problem is that with a lot of these things, I actually agree with him on. Now, we might disagree with like how to get there, but like I also want a lot of these things too. But I think that these fixation around identity politics and these fringe extreme topics like Jay Jones wanting to kill people just are noise, and they get in the way of having a conversation about that. It does, because I think that in a lot of these cases, like fundamentally, I think most Americans want the same thing, right? To a degree, right? Not that they all want universal health care, but I think that people generally want to be taken care of. They want to. Kalinske says a lot of extreme things himself, by the way, like Hassan and Fuentes. Oh, I'm sure he has. And then, yeah, I remember Kathy Griffin. That's a good point. Once Kathy Griffin posted a picture holding Trump's head, it was published everywhere, and he's talking if Democrats are saints. Yeah, Democrats and Republicans do bad things. It's very obvious that that's what happened. And all of that happened, by the way, in 2016, not recently. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know what this is. Is this how politicians talked before 2016? Yeah. And so what Nick Fuentes said, like, I don't have to defend that. I didn't say that. Why the fuck would I even, why even bring that up? There's nothing to do with it.
And we're the fucking problem?
Yes.
I can't with guys like this.
Uh-huh.
It's just.
You can't because engaging with the reality of what's being said is so obviously against you that you don't want to admit it. It's very obvious that the Democrats have been the massively violent ones. And if you look at all of these studies, by the way, that were conducted, these studies don't show a massive rise in violence that happened in 2020. They don't show the massive rises in violence that happened during the Tesla bombings, for example. And the reason why is because all of these studies are biased.
But any reasonable person who just looks at the news can clearly see that every single time that there is anything violent, besides maybe January 6th and maybe one or two other times, the majority of mass violence and mass hysteria is done by Democrats. It is. It's done by leftist people, whether it is the Tesla attacks, BLM, or these ICE protests. These are all left-wing things that are happening across the entire country, and they are justified, rationalized, and considered okay by so many liberals, and that's a huge problem. Antifa, yeah, it's another one. Or the assassinations, exactly. You see it's not violence because it's justice? Yes. Mind you, we're talking about current events. Yes, exactly. I'm sure that you can come up with bad things that right-wing people have done in the past too. Of course you can. But I think overwhelmingly in the past 5 years, or especially since Trump became the president, really, which is the frame of reference that we're really using here, overwhelmingly, it's been Democrats. Overwhelmingly leftists. It's not even close. The college protests too? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I forgot all about that. They're also including right-wing violence in prisons. Yeah, and again, these studies are biased. They're biased, and they are conducted in ways that are misleading. And anybody who knows anything about statistics would know that.
Again, I don't even know why he bothers. Why did?
Yes.
And also, wasn't he like
I'm South African. We can see
some of the
Democrats
most genocidal shit anybody's ever heard about Palestine not that long ago?
Yes, and that's the difference. See, the difference between me and I think a lot of people like Kyle is that if I say something that I think is wrong, I will say, I think that was wrong. I shouldn't have said that. But the problem is that people like Kyle don't accept that. They don't accept that. They don't want to hear that. And all they do is double down. That's it. And that's why I think they lose also. It's because they're unwilling to self-evaluate.
And now he's going to touch and fucking finger wag and tone police the left? Fucking
No, I'm not tone policing. I'm just saying stop burning down cars. Holy shit, is it that hard? Stop setting cars on fire. That's it. Stop throwing bricks at police officers. You guys can, you can have whatever you want to, saying some crazy shit. Yeah, some of it might be a bit over the line. But just stop throwing bricks. Stop being violent. That's it. I feel like it's such a low bar.
Tone police yourself, you bitch. What'd he say? He said something really atrocious.
I did. That's why I apologized. I just wish you guys could do the same thing.
I don't remember the specifics, but it was something like, I don't feel bad at all, talking about the dead people in Gaza. I don't feel bad at all. Then he went on to say something like they're inferior. They're an inferior people. They're an inferior culture or something like that. I mean, I have nothing but disdain and scorn for such a smug
I would have never guessed.
Prick. Who, by the way, is also quite judgmental considering...
How is it that I'm the smug and judgmental one? Meanwhile, you're sitting in your house, and you obviously let's be real, okay? Being a smug, judgmental prick. You're sitting in your house, you record these videos behind all of the books that maybe you've read, maybe you haven't read, it doesn't really matter. You're very obviously trying to portray yourself and present yourself as this intellectual person and create a degree of authority, and that's why you're wearing a suit. That's why you've got all the books behind you. That's why you got the spray tan on. Like, everything that you're doing here is a performance in order for people to think that you're more authoritative than you are. And that's totally fine for you to do that. There's nothing wrong with that. But I don't want to hear that I'm the one that's smug while I'm sitting here in a white t-shirt in my mom's attic from some guy who's sitting in his living room wearing a suit with a bunch of books behind him so he can appear to look like he's authoritative. I don't want to hear that. If anybody's smug, it's you. Okay? And this is not even a personal thing. It's just an objective fact. I mean, what are we talking about here? What is this? He's not wearing shorts? I don't know. Maybe he's wearing a full pant shoot. Maybe he's wearing underwear underneath. I don't want to know. I don't know.
He's got cockroaches and fucking rats and shit in the background.
Oh, as opposed to you. Like, you know what I could do? This is what I could do. So I could actually get a bunch of books and then put them behind me, and I could wear a suit too. I could do that. Would you like that? Would that make you take me more seriously? Would that make you listen more?
And he's notorious for like never showering and stuff like that.
I do shower sometimes, just not every day or every week.
I can't with this stuff. So
Yeah.
Apparently, according to Asmongold,
That's right.
it's not the people who have literally built concentration camps and sent people.
A concentration camp. You're evoking the Nazis and the Holocaust in order to discuss detaining people that are in our country illegally. You know the Holocaust killed, it was like 15 million people or 20 million people. It's just such a massive, like collectively, right? You talk about like the 6 or 7 million Jewish people that were killed all the time, right? But collectively, he killed, was it 11? I thought it was like 15 or something like that. But it was over 10 million, right? It was over 10 million people were killed. And I don't want to argue about the 6, 7. Okay, guys. All right, let's stop with that. So my point is, though, that you're eliciting Nazi concentration camps to discuss people that are being, basically held in an area. Also, by the way, what about every other country? Does every other country have concentration camps? Because many countries do this. Of course, they're going to detain you and capture you whenever you're not supposed to be in the country. What a crazy thing to say. It's a concentration camp. Who says this?
It's not the people.
Yeah, you're weaponizing Nazis and the Holocaust in order to justify illegal immigrants, illegal aliens in the country. What a stupid thing to say.
People who have literally built concentration camps and sent people there.
Literally. By the way, a lot of those camps were built by Obama. Like those kids, the whole kids in cages. Guess who built those? It's Obama. His boy.
With no due process. They're not the problem.
Which, by the way, Obama was right in doing that. Good call. W. Obama. I didn't hear what he said.
People there with no due process. They're not the problem. The problem is how uncivil the Democrats are.
Well, uncivil. Yes, I would consider burning down cars and violently throwing bricks at police officers as being uncivil. I would say this is a little bit ungentlemanly. You don't need to do that. They get due process. Again, whether they do or don't, I don't even really, if somebody's in the country illegally, I think that process has already just been done. Okay, there is the due process. You're illegal? Okay, now you're gone. Due process is done. And also, by the way, if that's not the case, why the fuck not? Why the fuck not? Like, what are we doing here? No due process? Why the hell Democrats don't sue them then? Yeah, I guess so.
Uncivil Democrats are radicalizing the Republicans. It's not the other way around. It's not that it's the Republicans radicalizing the Democrats, finally, to fucking wake up and take this fascist threat seriously.
Oh, here we go. Kyle doesn't care about fascism. Kyle wants to be the one in control of the fascism. That's why he said, oh, it's a good thing that now we voted for Jay Jones. You're not against killing your political opponents. You just don't want to be killed. You have no problem voting for the guy that is talking about killing your political opponents, but you're also against fascism. No. These people don't hate the police. They want to be the police. These people don't hate fascism. They want to be the fascists. You're mad that the shoe's on the other foot. You're not mad about the shoe.
Fucking do the right things. Fight back against Trump, all of his illegal wars and all of his fucking insane immigration policy. No, it's not that. Can't be that.
Illegal wars and say, okay, yep, great. Okay. You're just going to add this in at the end of the video.
That, of course.
Yes.
God damn it, man. God fucking damn it.
You're wearing a watch in your own house? Jesus, what a performance. What a performance. Wow. Good job.
How can anybody watch this? I really hope that nobody's watching this and taking this political stuff seriously. I really hope so.
Uh-huh.
Because
then it would be bad for you. Because people would not be taking you seriously. When obviously they should. Don't they see all the books behind you? Obviously this guy knows what he's talking about. You can't just listen to somebody wearing a t-shirt. You have to listen to me because I'm wearing a suit.
You're better off. It reminds me of that old poll that said people are better off watching no news than watching Fox News. Uh-huh. You literally are worse off watching Fox News than watching no news. It's literally the same taking the political opinions of Asmongold seriously. It's the exact same. Like, if you listen to him and you take what he's saying seriously.
The examples used, by the way, were just totally, like, not even things that happened. Like, they're like, yeah, like, for example, this thing that the meteorologist said that, it didn't happen. Yeah, okay, well, what about this other thing? Oh, yeah, the thing where yeah.
That's worse than watching nothing. Than just, like, being totally ignorant. Like, you're better off being totally ignorant.
Yeah, the old phrase, if you watch the news, you're misinformed. If you don't watch the news, you're uninformed. Yeah, it's very common.
You'll have a better understanding of the political world if you're totally ignorant than watching this guy.
So, wait a minute. Didn't this totally, like, I'm just... So, if I had a better view of the world... So, didn't he call me totally ignorant? But then you said totally ignorant people are going to have a better view of the world. So, which one is it? Very interesting, isn't it?
Jesus Christ.
Wow.
All right, there you have it, guys. There you have it. All right, you guys know I love you. Thank you, as always, for watching. You guys can subscribe to the channel, support the show on Patreon.
Why are you moving like this? Holy shit. He's drinking too many energy drinks.
Sign up for Crystal Kyle and Friends on Substack.
Yeah.
You could go sub to Corrin's World and come watch us live when we do Kyle and Corrin's on every Monday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And that's all I got for you, man. Everybody have a great rest of your day, and I will talk to you soon. Peace. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And
you can get a new profile picture. This is from, like, what? It was like 2010?
Watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.
Not really. So anyway, yeah, so that this is the mindset of the people that are making videos about me, disagreeing with me, crying about me, etc. Is that you have people like Kyle who sit around all day, every day, and they're making stupid comments on Twitter. I see Kyle's comments all the time on Twitter, and they're always completely brain dead. What a weirdo. Well, I mean, again, I don't have a problem with this. I just wish that he would focus more on the substance of what I said rather than just making up arguments that aren't even true. Like, you know, you can look at, for example, the meteorologist thing with Doge or anything like that and just look it up yourself and find out that it's immediately not true. And it would take 3 seconds to find out that this wasn't true, right? Literally seconds to figure it out. And it's not up to him to do that. And you know, it's the same thing with the Jay Jones things, right? You don't even really look at the tweets. You're not even trying to engage with the conversation. You're not even trying to understand what the other person is trying to say. And I think this is the problem that people like Kyle have a lot, is that they do not even make a attempt in order to understand what another person's perspective is. Like, I can see where he's coming from with things that he's saying, right? But you can see that they do not even try to do that. And the reason why that's a problem is that if you can't understand an argument, you can never really beat it. And I think this is the reason why people like Kyle are losing so many people in politics nowadays, and why his brand of politics is becoming increasingly unpopular, and why people like him are increasingly unpopular. And you're crying about people like me or Joe Rogan, who are, I would say, very successful. And you're sitting here in your fucking room wearing your special suit and your special books behind you and all this, and you're thinking it should have been me. Well, that's okay. If you want it to be you, you have to try to actually engage with what people are saying rather than just simply make arguments like, I can't with this guy, he's stupid, etc. If they understand your point of view, they'll end up agreeing with you. And what I think is really sad about this too is that at the end of the video, like, he's talking about a lot of things that he wants, and these are things that I want too. I generally want these same things, but in a different way, right? I mean, I like, for example, like, if we have universal health care and we have a lot of social systems that I think that we should have, I think that it becomes increasingly more important to make sure that people can't come into the country without proper vetting process, right? Because at that point, now you could be potentially adding too many people to disbalance the scales. Because if you have a social system that is giving out more than it's getting, then the social system collapses. So that's the reason why, for example, I'm so anti, illegal migration. And also I'm for minimizing even legal migration in some cases, like with H-1B visas, It's because I do agree with the same things that he agrees with. I just don't think that what he's doing and the way that he's approaching it is a good way to get to that end goal, right? I don't think it is. I think that if you let a bunch of people come into the country and then just claim these benefits, you're going to eventually bankrupt the system. And I think this has happened already in Europe. It's happening in Europe. Denmark already kind of has gone through this. They had to deport a lot of people because of it. And so it's very obvious. School benefits need to be sustainable. Yeah, you have to have sustainability in this. And so hopefully Kyle can, he can relax a little bit and chill out. But I did want to, I do, a lot of people say that I never engage with people that disagree with me. The sad thing is that I actually do very often, but I figured I'd make a video and do that. The sad part is an 8th grader in 1780 is educationally smarter than today's generation, even though we have more access to the information. No, they're not. So this is the education in 1980. This is the education now. So basically, back then, you had a lot of deep knowledge inside of a small amount of subjects. But now there is so much more information and things in the world that people are, in general, more educated than we used to be. In general, right? And also, you do have dumb people that happen, but I don't agree with that assessment at all. It's shallow. Yes, exactly. Well, of course it's going to be shallow because you don't need to have a deep understanding of what, different fucking Roman emperors said, right? I mean, it's just not a functionally useful thing for American society. So it's that simple. The argument, listening to someone's argument is going to lead you astray. It's just silly. It means you have no confidence in your own mental facilities. Yeah, I guess so. I like how enforcing immigration law is considered radical. Yes, exactly. Yes, it's radical. And the reason why they think that it's radical is very simple. It's because they disagree with it. That's the reason. So they label things that they disagree with as radical, and that gives them the justification to go crazy and be radical themselves. And so I understand where Kyle's coming from with some of these things, and I can see why he's frustrated about the way that Obama, for example, was treated, and I think that's fair. But in a general sense, I think that he has not really tried to engage with the conversation, and I think that he's tried to talk past a lot of things that I've tried to say. And I think that he's just attacked me as a person. He's attacked things that I'm saying, or my personality, the way I live, what I look like, things that I previously said. It's not actually about engaging with the conversation. Why meritocracy is total bullshit. Posted by why meritocracy is total bullshit. Ironically, I think that YouTube is probably the biggest meritocracy that there is because anybody can make content and there's no barrier to entry. I'll read a few questions and comments from people, but then after that, I want to move on and look at some other stuff too, okay? So let's see here. Some protections for refugees, even deporting them back to their own country. I'll believe it when I see it. Yeah, for sure. Is it justified their radicalization radicalizes you or me? That's a question I've been asking myself. I think that you should always match forces with somebody else, and you should always do what's going to be best for your side and for people that you care about. And if that means being radical, then you should do it. If that means not being radical, then you should do that. You should always act in your own best interest, and you should always be your own biggest advocate. So you should always do that every single time. That's my best advice, and that's my opinion on almost everything, right? So yeah, Kyle tries to attack you for whatever people say and pretends you said it. Yeah, I mean, like, I it's just sad. Why do you think he has a tan? I don't know. Yeah, I have no idea. Always go one step further than your opponent. Yeah, absolutely. I would say so. I agree with the part for cutting funding on research projects that are dodgy or projects that are unethical, but this does not justify cutting funding for all scientific academics. I've known a few good labs that were dismissed because of funding for their core project was suspended. Well, maybe the core project was funding other labs that were bad, right? And like that's obviously, on them to make sure that they're not doing that. And then also, like, I could agree with you in some cases where I think funding does get cut for things that shouldn't be cut. Absolutely, that happens. Sure, mistakes happen. In the same way that funding can be cut for things that are not, that shouldn't be cut, funding is also given for things that shouldn't be given. Both of these things are problematic in different ways. FDR, Democratic president, authorized Japanese concentration camps in World War II. Yeah, and also they gave them reparations for that because it was a bad decision. Right? I mean, it's pretty simple. Like, I mean, everybody generally agrees with that. It's just crazy people to use the concentration camps, which is nuts. And I think they were internment camps, by the way. I this is an opinion that I have, and this is the last thing I want to talk about, then I'll probably go play some games or something, is that I really dislike the stolen valor of Nazi, concentration camp, Holocaust, and slavery. I think that these words have such a tremendous historical weight to them, and people like Kyle in this video, for example, that use these words effectively as being a, an emotional guilt trump card, I think that they do them a tremendous disservice. I think they do. And I don't like the fact that people use that. I don't think people really understand how bad a lot of these things historically were. So yeah, it's disrespectful in Germany. Yeah, and I don't blame you guys. I mean, that's one thing, right? Yeah, NPC vocabulary. Yes, exactly. Stop comparing shit to concentration camps unless they're doing human experiments and murdering people for nothing. Yeah. So, like, for example, like, Nazis took, like, a bunch of Jewish women and they did experiments on them and they killed every single one of them. And then they're like, okay, send me more. That was it. Like, the idea that taking people that are, illegal aliens in a country and then putting them somewhere before you deport them is even in the same universe as that is just such a complete dishonest interpretation. And it does such a disservice to the people that actually were negatively affected by this. It really does. And I find it to be horrible that people do that. But unfortunately, nowadays, it's so common. They're ulting. Yeah, exactly. And if you're ulting all the time, you're never ulting. That's the problem that people like Kyle have. Where are things with Mexico? Probably the same place. I haven't had anything else happen. I'm Polish. They killed 16% of my population, and people use the word Nazi for the most random shit on the internet. Is fucking annoying. Yeah. Poland got fucked, right? 1939. That was a bad time for you guys. I agree. Yeah, and so there's a lot of people. It's very true that obviously people in Europe have suffered tremendously because of the Nazis. I mean, Americans obviously did to an extent, but it's nothing compared to the way Europeans had to deal with, right? I mean, because they were the ones really getting killed. Like, the majority of the people that were, killed in World War II were probably Europeans, as far as I know. Rise up, Mexico, fuck the cartels. Yeah, no doubt.